everyone else was.
Good evening, welcome to the November 2nd, Town of Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Teresa, if you call the roll.
Councilman Whalen?
Here.
Councilwoman Standard?
Here.
Councilman Morelli?
Here.
Councilwoman Walloway? Here. Supervisor Barrett?
Here, entertain a motion to approve Town Board meeting minutes of October 13th and 19th.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Holloway, second by Mr. Whalen. Discussion.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walloway? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, communications and announcements, just have a few items I want to mention. First, Friday night, each year we have a Halloween celebration. We typically have a parade and some other fun things for the kids, trunk or treat, as it's called. People get very creative and dress up the back of their car and basically putting a costume on your car. And some of them are extremely creative and a lot of fun for the kids. This year we had by far the largest turnout we've ever had. And that was certainly exciting. I want to thank Star Point Church for their continued partnership. We've been partnering with them on this event for about 15 years now. And they just do a tremendous job. Despite the crowds, which we certainly didn't expect that many people to show up. If you drove by the Common over here, you saw the line that was extensive and long for a lengthy period of time. Also like to thank Gene Spiegel in my office that coordinated the details with the church and everybody that was involved. So it's just a really fun night. Weather turned out to be decent, and gosh, I don't know how many people came through, but it was definitely in the four figures. So very successful night. So thank you, everybody. Yesterday we had a memorial, a short vigil for a young man that lives in the area that perished on the day that we had that terrible storm blow through. And thousands of people in town and in other areas lost their power for a few days. We spent weeks cleaning up after the storm, but obviously that's all a very minor and temporary inconvenience when compared to what the family of William Oates has experienced. To have their part of their family perish in such a terrible tragedy. They have a small memorial off to the side of Pierce Road. I want to thank Dan and Clements and Buildings and Grounds who went and cleared the area to make it as accessible as possible. And the family had a cross and a bench there, and we added a patriotic wreath. Mr. Oates served his country in the National Guard and served his community. He was obviously loved by so many people, family, friends, siblings, from all accounts, just a tremendous young man. There were some great newspaper articles about him that were very, just a nice way to understand his life and remember who he was and how he lived. So, I want to thank the Jonesville Fire Department as well. They were there on hand. The Sheriff Zerlo and the Saratoga County Sheriff deputies were there to help with traffic control, so the group could safely walk from the church, Northway Church, to the site. Also want to thank Pastor Cremines in the Northway Church. We parked in their parking lot, and Pastor Cremines joined us. led us in prayer. So I want to thank Pastor Cummings and his wife Debbie for being there as well. But just a a sad day, but it was a nice way to remember this fine young man. Coming up this Thursday, from 2 to 4, right outside the door here, we'll have another mask distribution for Clifton Park residents. We've had several already this year. And as everybody has been reading, there is an uptick in cases right now for Saratoga County. As of today, there's 129 active cases. So we felt the time was right to have another public mask distribution. I also contacted Saratoga County Department of Health to bring them in and work with us. They will be providing hand sanitizer to people that come by. So if you haven't been to one of our public mask distributions, it's very easy. We have a traffic route. Come in the common, make your way down the road as you did tonight to get here to the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. You wrap around, follow the cones and the signs, drive up to the front of the building. We hand you a package of masks and hand sanitizer, and you're on your way and gone in just a few minutes. So with that traffic route and the way we have the process down at this point, we can serve many people in a fairly short period of time. So please, if you'd like some masks, if you know somebody that can use some, please come by on Thursday from 2 to 4, and we'll be outside. We are also going to have some other events in tandem with the Saratoga County Department of Health and Wellspring, which is another fine county organization. So we're talking about some other things that we're going to do in partnership with those groups. And lastly, we've been working on a project for years now, and that is to purchase the streetlights in the town of Clifton Park. We were one of the first in this national grid territory to embark on this initiative. Other municipalities have since started the process. We received word, what was it, about a month and a half ago, that NYSEG, which has a small portion of the number of traffic lights in town, majority are in the national grid portfolio. But we just heard from National Grid that they have completed their process with the PSC. There's still, of course, some steps to go, but we're finally we finally see some, I won't say we're at the end of the tunnel, we see some light at the end of the tunnel at this point to get this initiative over the finish line. We've talked about this quite a bit at many town board meetings, but just very quickly, our plan is to purchase the street lights. We change out the bulbs right away, switching over to LED technology. We save 60% on our energy usage right away. And we would no longer pay facility charges to the utilities. Every municipality, if there's streetlights in your municipality, you're paying a utility for the energy, even when the bulb is up, which is interesting. But you pay either way. If that light's on or that light's out, you're paying. So you pay for the light, but you also pay a facility charge, which is basically a maintenance charge should they need to conduct maintenance, and that is rather expensive. So it'll be significant savings to the town, particularly in the long term, which is why we embarked on the initiative in the beginning, and certainly an exciting venture. So we're looking forward to getting to the point where we can start executing the bulb replacement. A lot of hands on deck at Town Hall with that process over the last few years. Any other communications or at this time? Okay. All right, we have a couple of public hearings tonight, and I'm going to get to our Community Action Fund awards as well. First is a public hearing for term conservation easements. Teresa, if you could read the legal notice as appeared in Gazette.
Town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, notice of public hearing regarding conservation easements applications. Please take notice that the town board of the town of Clifton Park will conduct public hearings on November 2nd, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. in the Clifton Park Senior Community Center, 6 Clifton Common Court, town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, at which time the place of public comment may be made to the town board with regard to conservation easement applications under the conservation easement law relating to properties at 393 Bishopberry Road and 989 Main Street. Copies of the application may be inspected at the town clerk's office during normal business hours, and that was inserted in the Gazette on October 15th.
And Walter Smeed, our assessor, is here. We'll open the public hearing. Walter, if you could just come up to the. Sure. Yeah, I think it'll be a little easier. Just give us a quick rundown of what we're considering here.
Basically, we have a conservation easement program, and what these are is 2 new applications for 2 historic houses. So that's pretty routine for us, and I think we're up to now, we probably have 30 or 40 historic houses in town that get to conservation easement. And we probably have another 20 or 30 open space land and farming parcels that get to conservation easements. So these are already been looked at by the historic preservation as far as being acceptable. We get basically a tax break on the building itself, not on the building.
All right. So in either case, you get a tax break if you're a large landowner, you agree to not develop your land for a long period of time, term of 15, 20, or 25 years, and you have that agreement with the town, you have the ability to receive a tax break. Same is true if you have a historic structure and you commit to maintaining it in that fashion, you too can get a tax break for that as well. So in both cases, it provides an incentive for people to either help us conserve property or help us promote additional historic preservation within the town. Anything else that you want to add there? Okay, any comments from the board before we open it up? Mr. Whalen?
Yeah, I would say, so 393 Bishopberry Road is the Manning Fisher House that was just added to the historic register last year. 989 Main Street is probably best known as the former Jonesville store. That's been on the historic register for a number of years. And at its last meeting, the Historic Preservation Commission unanimously supported both applications for the tax.
Okay, anyone else? All right. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. If you'd like to speak on this matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward. State your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Any final comments from the board? Okay. With that, we'll close the public hearing. We'll move to our second public hearing, which is the public hearing regarding Clifton Park Sewer District number 2, extension number 1, and Tremont Estates. And Teresa, if you could read the legal notice.
Town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, notice of public hearing regarding establishment of the Clifton Park Sewer District number 2, extension number 1. Please take notice of the town board of the town of Clifton Park, Saratoga County, New York, the town will conduct a public hearing on Monday, November 2nd, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center, 6 Clifton Common, Clifton Park, New York, to consider the extension of the Clifton Park Sewer District number 2 for the inclusion of existing sewer infrastructure within the district. The boundaries of the proposed extension are all of Princess Pine, Bittersweet Lane, Durham Way, as well as 3 properties on Crescent Road, western Bono Lane, more particularly described within the map plan and report, which is on file in the town clerk's office and available for review and downloading on the Clifton Park website. The annual cost of the proposed extension to the typical property in the sewer district will consist of $175 annual sewer use charge to the Clifton Park Sewer District number 2 and a $255.50 sewer charge payable to the Saratoga County Sewer District pursuant to the published rates for a total estimated annual cost to the typical property of $430.50 by order of the town board of the town of Clifton Park, Saratoga County, New York. And it was in the Gazette on October 22nd.
Okay, so we just recently, as in the last couple of months, assumed the abandonment of a large sewer district in the southern part of town, in the Tremont Estates area. It was formerly the Crescent Waste Services company, and it was a private company, about 2,000 customers. Per state law, these private sewer systems can be abandoned to the town, and we've assumed ownership of many of them over the last 18 years or so. And we initiated a sewer department for that reason, to accept the growing responsibility that we were realizing through the acceptance of these private sewer districts. So this 2,000 new customers, which is Clifton Park Sewer District number 2, is, well, it's connected to the Tremont Estates area, right? And for some reason, over the years, the Tremont Estates area, there was no official transfer of ownership. We assumed from what Mike and Walt and anybody else has been able to try to uncover here, Teresa, it was private at one time. It probably was to be abandoned to the town, but we cannot locate exactly where and when that may have happened. Some people might have one gentleman say that he had heard it happen back in 1990. I don't know, but so it's been kind of a small area. You know, there's not 2,000 customers there. It's a much smaller area. But as far as official ownership of the infrastructure in the public right of way, there really hasn't been an entity that is had that official ownership. So we did have an addendum to the report that was completed when we were considering the abandonment of the Crescent Waste Services, Inc. And we have MJ Engineering here to talk a little bit about the addendum, which is for Tremont Estates. So please go ahead. Oh, well, let me also before you start. So I did send a letter to everybody that would be affected by this discussion that we're talking about tonight, including where they could find the report for Crescent Waste Services, as well as where they could find the report for Tremont, which is the first extension of Clifton Park Sewer number 2, the former Crescent Estates waste.
We're also trying to have some technical difficulties tonight. We're going to have a PowerPoint presentation, but we're trying to make some copies of the slides. So if anyone does have any questions or comments later on, hopefully we'll have that slide presentation for you.
And you can go to cliftonpark.org. That's where we pointed everybody to in the letter, exactly where to find both reports. So yes, thank you.
Supervisor covered it pretty well.
Could you state your name for me, please?
Sure, Walt Lippman, MJ Engineering. So Tremont Estates, which is located just west of the old Crescent Waste Transportation Corp., which is now Town of Clifton Park District number 2. That was created by the town back in June of this year. And then Tremont Estates, which is Bittersweet Lane, 3 properties on Crescent Road, Durham Way, Princess Pine Drive. Currently, all those properties, they were built in the late 70s. The road was dedicated in the early 80s. However, the infrastructure was never turned over to the town. It was privately owned. So with this district, the purpose of it is basically to have somebody responsible for the infrastructure within the right of way. The property owners will still be responsible for their grinder pumps, their laterals to the town's main. but the town will be responsible for everything in the right of way. So basically, right now, on your town bill, on your town tax bill this year, you are currently paying $255.50, which is to the Saratoga County Sewer District for treatment charges. Currently, there is no collection system charge. For when this district extension is created, you'll continue to pay the $255.50, and there will also be a town of Clifton Park O&M charge to go with the county charge.
O&M is operations and maintenance.
Yep, and that will be an annual fee of $175, which you'll see on your next county tax bill. So once that goes into place, the system will be properly owned and now town owned. So any concerns with the infrastructure in the road, Michael Bryan, who's the collection system manager of the town, you can call his department, and they'd be willing to help with any situations that come about. So basically, that's it. So it's those three complete streets. There's 3 properties on Crescent, which will be turning from the Tremont Estates Sewer District to the town of Clifton Park Sewer District number 2, extension number 1.
So Clifton Park Sewer District number 2, which is the former Crescent Waste Inc. Sources Inc. They're paying the $175.
Correct.
And that's what they were paying prior to our assuming ownership of the system.
Correct.
It's just that they were paying a private company, now they're paying the town, which is overseeing the operations, maintenance, and future repairs of the district.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, Tremont Estates area would be an extension of Clifton Park Sewer number 2, thereby they would pay the same amount for operations, maintenance, and future repairs.
Correct.
And one of the positives to this is, as I mentioned, Tremont Estates is a small number of homes. If you're a part of a larger district, you have economies of scale, that will be very helpful. So the timing is opportune to make Tremont an extension of Crescent Waste, the former Crescent Waste, and assimilate it into one entity. Because if there were issues with sewer infrastructure in the right-of-way with a very small number of houses, nothing's cheap, right? Especially if there's excavating involved or broken pipes, whatever the case may be. Those expenses can rise very quickly, especially if things have to be done on an emergency basis. And that high cost would theoretically be split over a very small number of homes. In this case, you have economies of scale with a couple thousand customers as part of the same system in Clifton Park Sewer District number 2. Plus, it finally puts to rest the official ownership of this public sewer infrastructure that's in the right-of-way. Now, we should also mention that and this is the case with just about any public service here, whether it's water, sewer, utility service, the main infrastructure that is in the public right-of-way is the purview of, in this case, the town of Clifton Park, or it could be the county sewer, or any of these, any entity that oversees water and sewer infrastructure. From the public right-of-way infrastructure to the home, that is the responsibility of the homeowner. So that is one thing that would never change in this equation. But the same is true for other, like I said, that's normal for water and sewer infrastructure. Is there anything else along those lines that we should mention just for informational purposes?
No, I think that's it. The town is taking over the system as is, and there's no proposed capital cost improvements for debt service at this time. So it's just basically transfer from privately owned to town owned.
Yeah, and interestingly, now it is state law, as I said, after 5 years, if you own one of these private sewer systems, you can abandon it to the nearest municipality, which is obliged to accept ownership of the system. But there is no requirement that you leave any money in the bank account, that the system be of a certain grade of quality regarding age of pipes or tracking issues that the system might have had over the last 10 years and forwarding that information to us. We basically take these systems and we take them over blind. It's not like paying for something where there's an expectation that you'll have information about what you're buying. We get usually very little information. Typically, there's a long-term employee or two that are associated with the system. We receive a lot of their institutional knowledge about the system verbally as the transition occurs, but very little else. And in this case, we don't even know. We're just accepting ownership. It's not even directly from a private entity at this point. And again, we're not sure where or when that was supposed to happen over the last 30 years or so. Anything else? Are there any questions for Walt from the board or Mike? Although Mike's not back yet. Okay, at this point, we'll open it up, open the public hearing if anybody has any comments or questions. And like I said, if there are folks that couldn't make it tonight, that information is still up on cliftonpark.org on the main page. So you can find the both reports there with a whole bunch of information that I hope you find helpful. So if there is anybody that would like to speak or has any questions, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward, state your name and address for us, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Any takers? Cool. I do want to thank, I have had some discussions with some people that, oh, there we go. I've had some discussions with people who live in the neighborhood about this, and if anybody in the area has any questions following the meeting, please don't hesitate to follow up. Mike, is there anything that you want to add?
No, sir.
You missed our engaging presentation here. Very informative. Mike O'Brien is the head of our sewer department, has been for about 15 years, right? Our growing sewer department as we take on more and more customers. But I assure you the experience that people have had going from a private company to town, the town being responsible for daily operations and maintenance has been very positive. And we'll make sure that you get the best possible customer service going forward. All right, well, thank you very much, Walt, Mike, appreciate it. We'll get...
Bill, if anybody wants one of these, I'll send them on the table on here.
Yeah, that's fine. I also mentioned that, sent a letter with directing them where they can find it as well. All right, very good. With that, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll move to our Community Action Fund recipients now. Boy, this is exciting. This is really exciting. Now, this is our second year of the Community Action Fund. We had almost twice as much money to give away this year as we did last year. And none of the money that is presented in these grants tonight comes from taxpayer funds. All of the money in these grants, almost $16,000, is all from the donation of bottles and cans down at the transfer station. You know, I think as more people found out about the program, and we also put up a big sign about this time last year that showed, I think we had about 18 recipients last year. And I think it gave people the sense that, wow, our donations are going to this new program. And if we donate our bottles and cans here for redemption, they are going directly to help so many entities within our community. And it's just been an incredible outpouring of support from the community. I just want to thank you so much. I believe just about everybody's here, right, Matt?
Yeah, I checked them off on your list there.
Yeah, I only see a couple that are not checked, so just about everybody's here. So what we're going to do is when I call the name of your organization, Matt will hand you the certificate. Is the check in there, Matt? Is it cash or check?
It's check.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Mark would let us give up cash. Check is in the folder, not in the mail. How about that? So he's going to hand you a certificate and a check, and we'd just like you to take a minute or two, just tell us about your organization and where the money will be invested, and that's about it. You know, it's a great opportunity for you to tell the community in a public venue the difference that you are making in the community, because you absolutely are. We're honored to be able to help you in this small way. So thank you all so very much. All right, first up we have, and this is exciting because, boy, they did an incredible job on the new building. Well, I call it the refurbished building. St. Peter's Pediatrics, and Dr. Graber was the gentleman that submitted the application. How are you, sir? Yeah, right there, right behind you, if you would, please. Thank you very much.
All right, good evening. So I'm Dr. Nathan Graber. I'm from St. Peter's Pediatrics here in Clifton Park, just over on 1 Callowwood Road, just down the road here. And I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. We're going to be using the money to put together a parent lending library. As anybody knows who's raised children or is currently raising children, it's a very, very complicated process, and there's a lot of questions that come up, and we often don't have enough time to go into the depth that we need to in the office visit. And so I'll refer the parents to reading materials. I'll show them books. I'll say, you have to pick up this book at the library, you have to get this on Amazon. And I don't know if they ever do. And so this gives us an opportunity to purchase those books on parenting, especially on some of the most complicated issues like sleep or mental illness or eating, nutrition, or just raising kids. And they can walk out of the office with the book in hand to borrow it until the next World Child visit. So I really thank you, everybody here, tremendously. It helps us to also combat some of the misinformation about parenting that you find on the web. There is no substitute for a good book. And it's known that reading a book is still the best way to convey difficult concepts. So I thank the town and I thank the council again for this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Doctor, and we appreciate St. Peter's large investment in the town of Clifton Park, the new campus, and now the redevelopment of, well, Craig probably remembers it as a Ponderosa.
I go back 30 years.
But the building on Route 9 was beautiful, and we can't wait to see it now that it's almost done. So thank you, and thank you to St. Peter's. All right, next up, Community Hospice Foundation. Hi, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you. I'm Ciara Deemer, and I supervise our bereavement program with Community Hospice. And we're going to use the money for our pediatric bereavement programming. Right now, we're all virtual, so we are sending all of our families these really beautiful boxes of all the art supplies they need to complete each art activity. And we're used to sharing, right? So it got really crazy, really fast. We provide free group services, so 80% of our work is actually folks who've had a sudden loss in the community. So it's going to probably serve hundreds and hundreds of kids. We have a program every other month. We'll be running these groups, so we'll be able to spend all of our supplies and continue our programming throughout the year, thanks to you all.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you.
Next up, Saratoga Center for the Family. Did anybody come in from? Okay, Saratoga Center for the Family received $1,000. And before I go any further, I want to thank our committee that helps us with these awards. Matt Grattan. Oh, we have some young ladies from the Girl Scouts. Alicia Jacobs, Greg Cesney, and Janine Micah. So I want to thank our committee very much before we go any further. But all right, well, the Saratoga Center for the Family isn't here, but Girl Scout Junior Troop 2509 is. And they're out in force. And they received $375. All right, great job, ladies. Okay. Yes, do we have a spokesperson?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, my name is Claire.
Oh, Claire, Claire, could you go over to the microphone, please, off to you? Yeah, if you could. Just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Hi, my name is Claire. We are using our award to build a little free library.
Also, everybody's saying a little bit.
Three girls here.
Oh, okay. Next. Yes, please. We're trying to stay distanced here as best as we can.
My name is Melanie. We hope that residents will use the library to get and take books. My name is Audrey, and we hope that this brings a love of reading and community spirit.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great job, ladies. Thank you so much. It's very nice of you to do this for the community, and thank you to your parents and all the volunteers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Girl Scout Service Unit 208. We have another Girl Scout troop, $750. Hi, Jen.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Andrus. I'm the service unit manager for all of the Girl Scouting in what encompasses, the entire Shenandoah area. So it is Clifton Park, Half Moon, and Waterford. So what we're doing is we are taking two parts of the wish list off of the Open Space Committee's plans and executing them. The first one is to put a bicycle fix-it station in the Commons, and that will be installed shortly. It's on order, so it should be arriving soon, and we'll install it, and it'll be actually on one of the pavilion structures. And this grant will go to a second bicycle fix-it station, which will be installed freestanding at the Vision Ferry Nature Preserve. That we likely will do in the spring. Of course, we have to dig into the ground and all that. So what we're doing, and we've been also consulting not only with the Open Space Committee and Jen Vigiani at the town, but also with bicycle enthusiast groups on the best place to put a station like that. And this station for this grant will have fix-it tools and a freestanding pump. So if in some cases you're bicycling and have a flat, you can fix it there at the preserve, because as we know, it is not close to any other gas stations in that area, so it kind of provides a spot for people to fix it. And we hope it'll just encourage people to make use of our bicycling trails and just get outside and be more active.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great project. Clifton Park Half Moon EMS, $480. Alan Bell. Hi, Al. How's the administrator of the Clifton Park Half Moon EMS?
Hi, good evening. My name is Alan Bell. I'm the Executive Director of the Clifton Park Half Moon Emergency Corps. I just wanted to thank the town and the committee and the Action Fund for donating the $480. We're going to use it for our Safe Sitter program, which is a program that we do for middle school aged children to learn how to babysit. We're going to buy 24 Safe Sitter backpack kits for these individuals. And inside the kit will be a first aid kit, a journal where they can put emergency contact information and all information about the children, whether the allergies or, different things about the kids that they can interact with. And the fun part is age appropriate games and puzzles and stuff that they can interact with and play with the kids that they're babysitting. We noticed that this is an important thing for the community, especially now where a lot of kids are home or are home unsupervised that have been in the past. So we're trying to keep up with the needs of the children and the residents and, provide a way that they can do this. This is really a cool class. It's kind of a badge of honor for them. We don't have a sash with a badge on it, but, they're really proud of their accomplishments, and it's probably one of the first things on their resume that they want to put on it. So it's pretty exciting. We're glad to be a part of it, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Al. And great job you guys have been doing in our community all year. Tough year, I know, for first responders, that's for sure. Faith Baptist Church Food Pantry, $1,000. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I have to take this off. I'll have to talk. My name is Ken Moritz. I am the Director of Operations at the Faith Food Pantry right down here on 14611 Glen Ridge Road. We've been around since 1985, and this year has been a very challenging year for us, as you can imagine, with the pandemic. We have increased our client base threefold. So it's put a significant amount of pressure on our resources. So this grant, I could tell you, came in God's time, because we truly needed to expand our capacity. And with the grant, we're able to buy refrigeration as well as freezing capacity now. So that way we could buy ahead, and we could buy cheaper, and we could serve probably 3 times more than we had. Just to give you an example, last year at this time, from April to now, we increased our number of people that we're serving by 1,500. So we're significantly moving. We're all volunteer based, all donation and grant based. So we're very happy and pleased with the township stepping forward and doing this, because it's going to allow us to really serve our clients and serve them well. So thank you very much.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, well, good luck to you. And if there's anything else we can do to help you, please reach out. Okay?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So a few bottles and cans are going to get the pantry freezer and refrigerators. I mean, that's very good. St. Edward Church for $1,000, and that was for the program. It's called Our House. It's a missionary within the church. Their funds will be used to allow a continued expansion in the number of people supported at Our House activities, and to be able to provide them with food materials for events and transportation when necessary for outings. So that's what the St. Edward the Confessor Church is going to use that $1,000 for. Next, Shenandoah Neighbors Connecting, $1,000. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you can move that down a little bit. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Nancy Barley. I'm the president of Shenandoah Neighbors Connecting. We are a village in southern Saratoga County, and a couple of our other members are here tonight. One is Rebecca Parsons over there, she's a vice president. And Lisa Smith is here. She's wearing another hat tonight, but she is on our board of directors. Our mission at Shenandoah Neighbors Connecting is to help ensure that senior citizens who live in the Shenandoah School District can continue to live independently in their own homes as long as possible. And we partner with Carolyn's to help with that. Our focus as a village has been on producing programs and events for seniors. We've been around for 2.5 years. We've produced a lot of programs, 30 of them, it's pretty tough. Most of them have been free and open to the public. And they get seniors out and engaged in communities, meeting their neighbors and learning something new. So we really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, our last in-person program was in March. And of course, COVID intervened. And we started doing virtual programs in August. We've had several virtual programs which have been pretty successful. And I'm thinking at this point, we're going to have to do virtual programming from now for like midsummer, I don't know, 8-10 months, because it has to be sometime senior citizens can get together safely and not working. And who knows how long that's going to be. So everybody knows that COVID's been hard for everybody, right? Parents, kids, healthcare workers, obviously people who actually contracted the virus. But it's also been very hard on seniors, because a lot of seniors are frail, living alone, and don't have regular access to transportation. So that means if you stay in bed, they've got to look at quarantining for another 4 or 5 months. That's pretty bleak, right? To make you sort of depressed. And that is a real problem with seniors, is social isolation and problems that can cause with mental health and physical health. So what we're going to do tonight, which we're very grateful for, is to provide stipends to presenters at in-person programs over the next 10 months. So we're thinking we can't get seniors out into the community, we can bring a little bit of the community into their revenues. So they won't feel so isolated and so disconnected. So we are very grateful to Supervisor Eric and the board for this great award. We're so thankful, and we also appreciate your concern to seniors in Park and the surrounding area. So thank you very much.
Thank you. What you're doing is very important, and we experience that here at Clifton Park Senior Community Center. You know, we have 1,500 members, and you know the routine that we've been accustomed to of taking classes here and socializing here at the center, some on a daily basis, and that routine has been completely eradicated.
Really been correct about these classes.
Yeah. So it's been quite difficult. So I applaud you for what you're doing. Thank you. And thank you, Loretta. Next up, Boy Scout Troop 4045. All right. How you doing tonight?
Good, thanks.
We have one grant of $250 and another grant of $360.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. My name is Matt Baker. I'm the current Scoutmaster of Troop 45. Those of you that aren't aware of our troop, we are based out of Shenandoah United Methodist Church. The troop has been functioning there for almost 60 years, the entire history of the church. We are currently a growing Boy Scout troop. We have about 30 scouts currently, so it's good to see growth even during this difficult time. You know, the principles in scouting is more important now than ever. Raising youth that are leaders in our community and really grasp the spirit of volunteerism and service, and are just highly principled youth. So happy and proud to be a part of that. The money that we're accepting today is going to 2 different projects. One is for the construction of a small shed at Shenandoah United Methodist Church to hold some of our canoe supplies. So as you know, with scouting, the outdoor activities are very important and something that we love to get out there and enjoy the outdoors. So we have 8 canoes in the troop, and we have paddles and life vests to go with those. So we need a place to store them. We have been storing here and there for many years now. We're building a small shed, about 4x4, just to hold those things. And then the other place where we'll be putting some funds is at Covert Village. So over the years, we've had a good relationship with Covert Village. Annually, we do a Flag Day ceremony for them, which we couldn't do this year. But we did do a socially distanced flag retirement ceremony there to retire four flags. At the ceremony, the activities director mentioned an interest in the residents there to have some elevated garden boxes built. They do a fair amount of gardening there. And said some of the seniors would have an easier time there if they had some elevated boxes where they can do their gardening. So we requested some funds to put together 3 of those boxes, measuring approximately 5 feet by 3 feet, about 3 feet off the ground. So that'll be something that we'll keep the scouts busy with over the winter months, putting together, and we'll work in the spring.
That's great.
Thank you for the funds.
Thank you, Matt, appreciate it, and say hello to everybody.
Will do.
All right. All right, next up, Joe Shantz. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Cub Scout Pack 4044. How you doing tonight?
Good, so.
Good.
Hi, I'm Matt Dunn. I'm the current Cub Master of Pack 44. We're out of Corpus Christi Catholic Church. We service about 50 plus families, primarily at Carrigon, Chango, as well as Mechanicville and smattering of the other schools. This is boys and girls, kindergarten through 5th grade. We provide non-formal education, opportunity for them, outdoor exploration, as well as like a kind of a primer for teamwork. We've been providing steady programming all the way through since March, virtually or in person, a mix of those things. The COVID pandemic has caused us to have to really change and reimagine how we do things. So those have also incurred some extra cost. Grant, which we are very appreciative of, is going to help us make those adjustments to our existing programs, starting in the next 2 weeks with our scouting for food. We're going to be doing that a little bit differently, not going door to door anymore. We're going to be doing question points, but need to get a little bit extra infrastructure to make that happen. But we're going to be doing a couple more things throughout and expand out to some more community programming. Hopefully, it'll be put off going virtual a little bit longer if the weather holds, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I thank you very much for what you're doing, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Joe Shantz. Is Joe here? Hey, Joe is, he received $800 for his Eagle Scout project. And let's see. That was with, at the Elks Lodge. $800. Funds will be used for the purchase and installation of a flagpole, including concrete foundation, landscaping, and lighting as part of his Eagle Scout project. So very nice project over at the Elks Lodge. So we congratulate Joe, who will soon be an Eagle Scout. Next up, speaking of the Elks, our past exalted ruler, past but not forgotten, exalted ruler, Craig Masterson.
Yes.
Tell him what he's won, Johnny. All right, so he got, let's see, the Elks or affiliated programs and entities received 4 grants totaling $1,750. Mr. Masterson.
I'd like to thank the town and Supervisor Barrett for this opportunity, which we will certainly use to support our efforts in terms of working with youth, working with the community, also working with veterans. We do it every day. Elk's been around for 151 years. That lodge on McElroy Road, that some of you have been to, is going to be 50 years old this summer. We're going to have a celebration. It should be quite interesting.
Yeah.
I hope COVID's gone by.
Let's hope.
Just a comment. I've been a town resident for like 38 years. I've seen it all happen. The last 20 or so, Mr. Supervisor Barrett has been in charge. I got to tell you, this particular program is another innovation which Phil put together, and it's a great one, and it's growing. I hope the community will support it. But again, innovation is the key, and this town is growing because of people like Supervisor Barrett. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you for the kind words, I appreciate that, and, it's just, like I said, it's a seemingly easy opportunity to get money back into the community without using taxpayer funds, and people feel a part of it because they're donating to make it happen. So we're just making our town better one nickel at a time.
We collect a lot of kids up there, just so you know.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. I know you put the money to good work. Next up, Albany, Saratoga base, United States submarine vets. Jim Irwin, $250. How are you, sir?
He's fun.
Doing well. Good to see you again. Amen.
Good to see you, Tom. My name is Jim Irwin. I'm the past commander of the Submarine Veterans, the local chapter, and I've got my present commander, Jerry Whitehead, with me. Before I go on, I just have a quick bit of recent history to bring up. Back in the spring of 2000, my wife saw a little article in one of the local penny savers that they were looking for submarine veterans in this area to start up a local chapter. And on May the 16th of 2000, there was 15 or 16 of us that right in this very room, and we were chartered as an organization on that day. So Clifton Park comes through again.
Come full circle.
Yes.
20 years later.
So anyway, our community outreach program is called Caps for Kids. We've partnered with the Albany Medical Center, hematology, the pediatric hematology, and also with the H Woods, Holding Woods up in Lake Luzerne. And what we do is we travel there, at least pre-COVID we did, and met with the kids. And when they undergo the chemo, they lose their hair. So it started out, and we would go, and we had a 4-foot model submarine that had all the noise and everything else. It would have the sonar pings, and would have the torpedoes firing, and the diving horn and everything else. So the kids would play with that. We had things for them to color. And we also had hats for them as they lose their hair, and they were a little bit shy about it. So we had summer ball caps for them. We had stuff for them to color. We had handouts for them. And then we decided, well, maybe in the wintertime, we might need something a little bit warmer. So we've got some stocking hats for them.
Nice.
So hopefully when this gets cleared up, we'll be able to start it up again. And in the meantime, we're maybe we're going to look into the possibility of doing driveway visits or something like that. So we'd like to thank the town and the committee for this donation.
Thank you, Jim, and please thank the entire group for what they do in the community.
All right, thank you.
God bless you. Okay, next up, our Community Animal Action Project, $1,000. Hi, how are you tonight?
My name is April Crowley. I am a board member of Community Animal Action Project. Our mission is to educate the community on feral cat situation, mostly, most animal welfare, but specifically feral cats. We deal with TNR, and in the community, trying to get these animals, educate people on how to house them, how to feed them. We will pay for the spay neuter and vaccinations and return them. Unfortunately, cats know nothing about COVID. There is no social distancing. So it did not stop this year. And we have not been able to do public adoptions on PetSmart. Our adoptions are down, our fundraising is down, so this helps tremendously. And we want to thank you.
Oh, good. Do you derive some revenue from adoptions? Is that part of
It kind of covers part of our cost.
Right.
Every adoption is a loss, but it covers part of our cost. So.
Right. Well, that's great. I'm glad we can help out, and you folks work hard on a volunteer basis, and We really thank you. I mean, there's probably some things you're hearing about tonight that you didn't even know were going on in the community. And that's another reason why I love this Community Action Fund is it's really an advertisement for the town, and we all see people working in the community doing things that many of us had no idea were even happening. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Twin Bridges Rotary Saratoga Interact Club. Cindy's here, $1,000. The Interact Club is a great group, it really is.
Thank you so much for this award.
Sure.
Yes, I'm Cindy Chanel, I'm the manager for the Saratoga Interact Club. And the Interact Club is the high school division of Rotary. So we work with the kids on various projects, and we wanted to work with them on something that is environmentally friendly. So we are working with the town of Clifton Park Buildings and Grounds. We selected Johnson Park, and we'll be planting trees there to separate the trail from the watercolor meadow. And along with that, we'll be teaching the kids about proper tree planting and maintenance, and hopefully maybe teaching them a little bit about New York State trees, such as the sugar maple. And hopefully they learn a lot about the environment as we go along.
Very nice. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Cindy. Appreciate everything Rotary's doing. Next up, High Five Sports, $500. Hi, how are you tonight?
Doing great now. Hi, my name is Jody Eves, and I am the president of High Five Sports. And High Five Sports is a sport and social organization for people with special needs. Autism is the main part, but we accept anybody who wants to come and play with us. And we have various sports throughout the year. Unfortunately, we're not doing that right now because of COVID. So I'm really hoping that by spring, we will be able to do baseball here at the Commons. Got our fingers crossed. So this wonderful grant, and thank you very much, by the way, will cover any rental fees for the fields. We're gonna need some new baseball equipment, some helmets and everything like that. We're a 100% volunteer-based organization. So we live on grants and we really appreciate all the donations that the town has provided for us. So thank you so much.
And you offer a number of sports.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
We work 40 plus weeks a year. We start with soccer in the fall. We do baseball. We do basketball. We do bowling. We do golf in the summertime. And then we throw in some social programs as well, because a lot of our special needs folks, they tend to get a little isolated as well. So it's nice to have some times where they can be with friends of their peers and have some fun. So we try to, put some social parties together. Can't do that now either, so hopefully soon. But not only that, we want to try to expand some of our programs. So maybe introduce some new sports and everything like that. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's great. Well, I've seen firsthand the incredible job you're doing with the kids.
Thank you. Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you. And not only that, but since we are all volunteer-based, we really need help from like the local high school students. So then they get time with their peers as well, but they also get to learn about what the special needs folks are going through too. So it kind of works both ways. So it's a good learning experience for everybody.
Now that you mentioned, I know my son's involved with the Best Buddies program.
Yes.
And that might be a place to recruit.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we
Some
definitely
kids to help
work
out.
with them as well. So they're both wonderful.
Yeah. So let's touch base on that.
That sounds
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much, and thank you for the grant.
Thank you. Next up, Friends of Shen Crew. Did somebody not checked off here? So I don't think they're here, but the funds will be used towards their scholarship program to introduce and make available the sport to more families that may otherwise not be able to afford the membership dues. I know Shen Crew is an organization that's not supported financially by the school district, so they do depend on grants and fundraising to make that program happen for the kids. Next up, Mr. Hansinger, Chase the Cure, JP's team, $500. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing good.
Good.
Thank you to Clifton Park and the board. Chase the Cure has two missions. One is to find a cure for childhood Alzheimer's, which there is no cure. And the other half of what we raise on our fundraisers goes to the Melody Center at Albany Med. We're fortunate to have them in our backyard, and they've been doing experimental treatments for about 6 years with this now. So we're very grateful to Albany Med. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you for what you're doing. Say hi to JP for us, will you? Nicole's Hope. I don't think, oh, good. $500, and they were here last year as well.
Yes.
Yeah. How you doing?
Thank you. Good, thank you.
Oh, that's great.
My name is Lisa Lee, and Nicole's Hope is a very new, small nonprofit. Just began 2 years ago, and we've been helping children at the Melody Center who are undergoing treatment for cancer. It's an organization that was named in memory of my daughter. She fought a 4-year battle with leukemia and passed away at 16 years old. We've been very busy this year. Our mission was always to bring smiles to the faces of the children by giving them weekends away with parents, special athletic games and shopping trips and whatever we could do to make them smile. This year, the pandemic, it's become more of an emergency type situation. We're providing groceries for parents who had to leave their work because their children are neutropenic and they can't risk being at work or bringing insurance home. We're providing gas, fixing cars so that parents can go to the hospital to be with their children. One of the most heartwarming and heartbreaking things we did this year is we had a beautiful young woman from Jamaica who was here trying to treatment and unfortunately failed. And we paid to her final expenses. Her mom, it was just her and her mom, and they had nothing. So we paid for their final expenses. And this money, unfortunately, is going to be going for a new program that we just inherited from a foundation that we no longer afforded, where we work with the Melody Center and children who are terminal. The child life specialist will take a fingerprint of the child and we're providing sterling silver charms with the fingerprints for the family members. I hope we don't have to use it for that and we can use it for fun stuff.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we did 7 this year for 7 families. Hopefully, we do far fewer this year. But thank you so much. It's extremely meaningful. I just got a call from the last family that we did this for, a young 3-year-old child in Boston Spa. Her parents were non. They just picked them today. So it's small, but it's something they wear close to their hearts. So thank you so much.
Let's thank you so much for what you're doing for the families and the kids. God bless you.
I get more out of it, I think, than they do. But thank you.
Thank you. We're honored to help you. Okay, the last one, the Town Green Committee, $300. Kathy, are you want to speak on this one? All right. Kathy Bruhoff, member of our Green Committee.
Okay, the Green Committee is part of the volunteers at Town Clifton Park. We are involved in everything. The Repair Cafe is one of the projects that we have. It's an international movement that started in Holland. And in our throwaway society, what we are aiming to do is to have people have things repaired instead of tossing them. Everything, I have a list from clothing, electrical appliances, jewelry, bicycles, toys, dolls, furniture, clocks. And I introduced it about 2 years ago. We've only had 2 so far before we had to cancel. We were holding them at the library. But citizens can bring in their items to the Repair Cafe. We have a group of great volunteers who have expertise in fixing things, and they are very happy to help people. The idea is not to bring something in and drop it off and pick it up later. It's to sit with the person and learn how to repair the items. One of the most popular items in all, Saratoga also has one at their library, and Schenectady has some that have been going on, and there are several throughout Elton Valley. We get a lot of lamps, and some of these ones that are special, inherited things, a lot of other sentimental items. People bring in jewelry or clocks, sort of toys, even kids, and they learn how to fix them. And what we use our money for is a lot of small incidental parts. For instance, lamps, little switches, or new cords, or phones. The fellows, we have women and men. They bring their own equipment. The ladies bring their sewing machines and their needles and thread, and the guys bring all kinds of tools and whatever, knife sharpening, things to fix spots. But we supply special kinds of glue or oil, things like that, that will help them instead of having them run over to the store and get a little plug or whatever it is that they need. We'll have. And then, of course, since it's a cafe, along with that, we serve some coffee and have some little whatever favorite kind of items. And then these great volunteers, we usually work from 10 until 2 or 3 or whenever we finally get through all the stuff. Get the repair, the volunteers. We call them coaches actually, because they're coaching you and learning, get back to fixing instead of tossing. And get a little lunchtime snack. We hope we'll have a couple coming up again. As soon as we have a place where we can get together. We didn't contemplate doing a couple outdoor ones, but the little things like jewelry and so forth. Sewing. But we have a Facebook page. It's just Repair Cafe Clifton Park, and you can check that and see when we're going to have another one. And if anybody else has some special talents that would like to volunteer, we can use whatever, electricians, mechanics. So we even do computers, people who like to sew, quilt, just doing.
Well, that's very nice, Kathy. The event last year was very successful, so
Yeah, we had
congratulations.
2 last year. I think we only did 1, but each one, as people learn about it, they have them call in. Some people get the idea that they're going to drop it off and go back and get it fixed. But, no, the idea is to get back to the old. I grew up very frugal, so this is right.
Right.
Fix it, don't toss it. That's it.
Keep it out of the waste stream, right?
Right.
There you go. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for the work that the Green Committee is doing throughout the year. So that's the full list of our organizations that received grants this year. We're already off to a very strong start for next year due to the generosity of folks in Clifton Park that are donating bottles and cans. We'll get this sign up, replace the older one that's there, so people see an even bigger list of groups that they're helping as they make those donations. And we had some some other help in getting some money, off to a good start for next year, so. So keep that in mind, everybody that received the grant tonight, hope to see you again next year, and hopefully see, more organizations as well, so thank you all very much. And, I want to thank Matt for, putting the information together with the, certificates, the checks, and, the pictures. Good job. All right. Resolutions for consideration. Ready for reason?
A resolution authorizing the sale of equipment declared surplus by the town board and authorizing the department to sell the surplus equipment at public auction. Whereas Daniel Simmons, supervisor of buildings and grounds, has identified vehicles and equipment currently attached as surplus property, and whereas based upon the recommendations of Mr. Clemens, the town board declares the items on the attached list as surplus. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes the buildings and grounds department to sell the surplus equipment as is through an upcoming online public auction. A resolution appointing Brina Monaco as a part-time clerk in the highway department, whereas Dan Bull, superintendent of highways, has requested permission to retain Brina Monaco as a part-time seasonal as needed basis due to the seasonality in the volume of work in the department, and whereas Ms. Monaco has worked for the town as a part-time clerk in both the supervisor's office and the senior community center since 2016. Now therefore be it resolved that Reina Monaco be appointed as part-time clerk to be used approximately 25 hours per week as needed to be paid at a grade 4, step 4, year 2, $22.59 per hour, with an estimated cost to the end of the year of $4,405 effective November 16, 2020, to be paid with a transfer from Highway Lane Sawsville to Highway part-time employees. A resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges on the 2021 property tax bills. Whereas Michael O'Brien, collection systems manager of the Old Nut Farm Sewer District number 1, has reported unpaid sewer bills per the attached schedule for use to the Old Nut Farm Sewer District. And whereas the sewer district requests that the assessor re-levy the 2019 unpaid Old Nut Farm sewer users' charges to ensure payment of the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the reported delinquent sewer charges for the Old Nut Farm Sewer District for the attached schedule, and authorizes the assessor to re-levy that amount on the property owner's 2021 town and county tax bills, and be it further resolved that all proceeds be returned in February to the Old Nut Farm Sewer District. A resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges on the 2021 property tax bills, whereas Michael O'Brien, collection systems manager of the Rivercrest Sewer District number 1, has reported unpaid sewer bills per the attached schedule for users of the Rivercrest Sewer District extension number 1, and whereas the sewer district requests that the assessor re-levy the unpaid 2019 Rivercrest Sewer District extension number 1 user charges to ensure payment of the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the reported delinquent sewer charges for the Rivercrest Sewer District extension number 1 per the attached schedule, and authorizes the assessor to levy the amount on the property owner's 2021 town and county tax bills, and be it further resolved that all proceeds be returned in February to the Rivercrest Sewer District extension number 1. A resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges on the 2021 property tax bills. Whereas the Saratoga County Sewer District number 1 has reported unpaid sewer taxes per the attached schedule for the Saratoga County Sewer District number 1, and whereas the sewer district requests that the assessor re-levy the unpaid Saratoga County Sewer District number 1 charges to ensure payment of the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the reported delinquent sewer charges for the Saratoga County Sewer District number 1 per the attached schedule, and authorizes the assessor to re-levy the amount on the property owner's 2021 town and county tax bills, and be it further resolved that all proceeds be returned in February to the Saratoga County Sewer District number 1. A resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent water charges on the 2021 property tax bills. Whereas Clifton Park Water Authority has reported unpaid Clifton Park Water Authority water bills with the town of Clifton Park users per the attached, and whereas the water authority requests that the assessor re-levy the unpaid Clifton Park Water Authority bills to ensure a payment of the state. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the reported delinquent water charges for the Clifton Park Water Authority per the attached, and authorizes the assessor to re-levy that amount on the property owner's 2021 town and county tax bills, and be it further resolved that all proceeds be returned in February to the Clifton Park Water Authority. Resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent water charges on the 2021 property tax bills, whereas the town of Ballston Water Department has reported unpaid town of Ballston water bills for the town of Clifton Park users per the attached, and whereas the town of Ballston Water Department asks that the assessor re-levy the unpaid town of Ballston water bills to ensure payment of the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the reported delinquent water charges for the town of Ballston Water Department per the attached, and authorizes the assessor to re-levy that amount on the property owner's 2021 town and county tax bills, and be it further resolved that all proceeds be returned in February to the town of Ballston. A resolution accepting a donation of land from Beverly Development Corporation, whereas Beverly Development Corporation has offered to dedicate approximately 90 acres of land and parcels identified as 276.1-94.11 and 276.1-9 as a donation property, as well as access as easement. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the acceptance of the dedication of land from Beverly Development Corporation as a donation for open space and park purposes. And be it further resolved that the town attorney is authorized to file the attached deed of conveyance in the Saratoga County Clerk's Office upon final execution. And be it further resolved that the final file deed with associated title report shall be appended to the within resolution. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to pay $2,629.94 in real property taxes from general fund assessment of town property.
All set? All right, any questions on the resolutions? Yes?
Yep, I just have one question, actually a request for an amendment. I've talked to, this is on resolution number 2, hiring of Raymond. I had put in for my resolution to start for next Monday. As you know, snow is almost here. I want to make sure we get her in and trained and finding out how the operations of our department work, that are familiar with it before things really start getting crazy. I know my discussion with her last week, she already talked to her supervisor here at the senior center, and she's going to cohabitate both jobs at the same time to make sure that whatever loose ends exist here, she can take care of here while working with the highway department. So Raina said she's very comfortable doing that, but we'd like to get her started as soon as possible so that we can get her acclimated to our operations.
Yeah, well, I had a long talk with Raina on Friday about the transition, and we'll have more to say later.
Okay, the good part about it is that the only change would be
the day,
on the end of the year. Right now it's at $4,405. It would only be an amendment to $4,775.
Yeah, right.
So not a huge change for 1 week, but it gets us enough time to make sure that she's trained and ready to go.
So you want that changed to November 9th?
That would be appreciated if this, the board can agree to that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, good. Teresa, if you could read the headings and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Resolution number 206 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the sale of equipment declared surplus by the town board and authorizing the departments to sell the surplus equipment at public auction. So moved.
Second. Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Ms. Walowitz. Ben?
Now, we got a couple of trucks on here, started with the 2004, they're both handed down from the building department. So the nice couple of red trucks that we've had for a bunch of years, being the boy over at the highway mechanic shop, and they're keeping them going. But they got to the point where there's so much rot the frames are rotted through, there's no more fix to that, no matter what you're doing. They won't be able to pass inspection any longer, but it'll be good parts for somebody out there, so we might as well auction them off. And the next thing's on there, Don has been cleaning out the building maintenance shop, which we like to call Palace, this is a little nickname we have for it. And he found some brand new high pressure sodium lights, brand new pictures, never used, we use all LED now. So they just take up space, put some in my lawn. Same thing with these paper towel, toilet paper, and soap dispensers. They're old style stainless steel, but they're brand new, nothing that we can use anymore. So somebody out there could will come on down my watch.
Very good. Well, sounds like we got our money's worth on it.
Absolutely. The truck is digging around.
Any questions for Dan? Thank you, Dan.
Councilman Whalen? Yes. Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallwood? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 207 of 2020, a resolution appointing Rita Monaco as a part-time clerk in the highway department.
So, moved by Mr. Morelli, second by Mr. Whalen. First, I want to say, as far as Rain is concerned, and what the job that she's done here at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center has been tremendous. She was working part-time in my office when I received a call from the board here at the center. The center had been run by a private organization for since its inception up until a few years ago. And after that meeting, it became clear to me we were going to be assuming management responsibility for the center in short order. I asked her to work here at the center, and we were starting fresh. Couldn't get into the computers at the time. The employees of the center had left, and we were in some ways flying blind as far as the day-to-day operations are concerned. But she's done a tremendous job over the last few years, and I just want to thank her for that, because there were, for the first several months that we operated the center, after 48 hours notice before we were in the position of assuming management responsibility. It was basically her, me. I was working out of the senior center. Security was helping. Buildings and grounds was setting up the room and taking it down each night. Matt or I would come over and lock the place up in the afternoon. So it was all hands on deck those first several months, but we were able to get through, keep the center operating efficiently, keeping the activities going. Eventually, we hired a director, Sue Leonard, and we've been just keeping that positive momentum and that growing spirit of the center here during the last few years. So I first want to thank Raina, thank everybody that's had a hand in making that happen. So now with her, she had told us that she would like to transition to a position in the highway department, and certainly she's earned that, and certainly wish her all the best in that transition as she goes to a different department. Personally, I'm thankful that she'll continue to be part of the team, because she's been a very valuable team member now for a number of years. So I just want to make sure I thank her. Secondly, as far as the start date, I did have an in-depth conversation with her last week about that, to see where her comfort level was, because although there's less occurring here at the center, when activities and programs do occur, there's more to do. Temperature checks and people signing in, and the usual COVID protocols that we're all accustomed to by now. In addition to that, obviously, she does a lot of work with our sponsors, and as you can see, we have a lot of great sponsors. Some of them are up here on the wall. She does a great job with our newsletter, and she has been the main point of contact with CDPHP, who is a major sponsor here, and also recently offered to sponsor one of our senior bands, so she's been handling that as well. So she does have a lot of items that she's working on. And right now, she's working part-time here, and then we have Sue Leonard, who's full-time, and Ryan, who's full-time. So what so obviously, once you're ready to move to another position, and since it's an open position, obviously that department's interested in having you come over. We do want to move as quickly as possible in any situation like this, but what we don't want to do is leave the senior center in a bad position, and she made that clear to me last week. She certainly does not want to do that. It might be difficult for her to work in both departments, but she was willing to do that, which I was very glad to hear if that's necessary. So all in all, I think we can have a smooth transition. I did send the board a suggested new position at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. It would be called a Senior Center Program Coordinator. And basically what I asked Raina to do, because I think that title fits with what she does on a day-to-day basis, I asked her to write out all of her responsibilities and initiatives that she works on a regular basis. I asked Tom McCarthy to work with County Civil Service to just on the mechanics of the position itself, and to make sure that we didn't miss anything, we're following the process correctly. So I don't know if you had an opportunity to review that and what your thoughts are. Just for people that are here, some of her regular items of responsibility, the monthly newsletter, that's a big responsibility. She's done a great job with that, kind of started it from scratch. And that's something that the seniors very much look forward to, either by mail or email. She tracks payments, vouchers, POs, secures advertisers and sponsors, as I mentioned. She maintains and updates the instructor agreements and instructor planning guides. She coordinates rental agreements, because we do a fair amount of renting space here at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center, although obviously this year not as much, but we've still had some rentals. She creates flyers and marketing. So I mean, there's a number of things here that she does, and certainly assists Sue Leonard as needed. So I don't know what the thoughts are. Obviously, if this is something that is something the board supports, I know Sue Leonard is very interested in the job becoming full-time. Raina certainly did the work of a full-time employee in her part-time status. But if we were to create this position as a new position here at the center, this would, I think, get us closer to where we need to be in the transition sooner than later. So did everybody have a chance to review that? Anybody need a copy of comments? Any thoughts?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Sue Leonard yet about it. It sounds promising, but yeah, certainly want to get Susan.
Oh. Anyone else?
I had a chance to review it. I think it made sense. I think you continue
quality here at the senior center's imperative, so already support.
Yeah, like I said, Sue's definitely interested in it being full-time, and that, obviously these are the types of activities that she would need done, because with Raina leaving, that would be this list of responsibilities left undone without somebody coming in and being able to take it. So, anyone else? Is there any interest in creating this position at this point?
Again, I would say tentatively yes, but, again, I'd like to talk to Sue to get her viewpoint on it, so no, I'd say not tonight.
Okay.
I'd like to spend some time on Sue first.
Oh. All right, fine. If you need more time, go ahead. I have extra copies here if you need them. It's in your email, obviously, from 2 days ago. Okay. We'll consider that at another time. All right. Further discussion?
Well, I know we've got a request from Superintendent Bolt to change the effective date from the 16th to the 9th. So it's my understanding that she is willing to do both jobs.
Yeah, that's what our
They're both part-time positions, right?
Right. So I talked to her on Friday as well. She was perfectly fine with that transition of a week or so, whatever it may be, on the senior center end of thing. But for us, we're getting into the time of year where it's snowing. We got to start, we're getting the calls, we're getting the concerns. We need to have her trained in figuring out how those things actually work. I'm sure a lot of the names are going to be the same. She's been out in the community with the senior center, so she does know the community extremely well. So we're very happy about that. But we're very familiar with transition. When I used to be the IT guy, before I became obviously superintendent, I spent 3 months going back and forth trying to help and patch things up. When the senior center came under the town, I did a lot of work helping with that as well. So we know about being helpful and stepping out of our assigned duties and getting done what needs to get done to make sure that we all work as a team.
Do you want to talk to Sue before
I haven't heard
shorten the transition?
I haven't heard any sort of concerns from Raina or Sue or Dan regarding this, so I certainly trust her ability to walk and chew gum and do both jobs at the same time. So for that, I certainly would 100% support changing the date of the resolution.
Well, I think she's still planning to be part-time. I don't think she's planning to be full-time. I didn't, obviously, she can walk and chew gum at the same time. I mean, she's done an incredible job, as I mentioned.
Well, look, I think the bottom line is here, we need to make a choice between which department is going to need to suck it up to accomplish the mission. I mean, clearly we're in the busy season for highway, so we need to make a choice as to which department's going to have to figure out how to make it work. I hate to say it, it's going to have to be soon in senior center. The part of the highway department needs to be manpower and effort at this time. So there needs to be a hard choice made. To me, at this point in time, it makes sense to have the employee work at highway. If this was 6 months ago, I think it'd be a different dynamic. So from that standpoint, I think Raina needs to be at highway as well as the senior center.
Okay. Very good.
Mr.
Anyone else?
Supervisor, yes, thank you. I believe Raina Manafo submitted a letter on October 26th to Sue Leonard regarding her 2 weeks notice that she gave on October 22nd, with her leave date being November 6th. Are you aware of that letter to Sue?
Well, she gave her notice about that time, yeah.
So, was there a conversation with Sue Leonard about that effective date for her leave, November 6th is stated in the letter?
What do you mean?
Raina Manafo submitted her letter of resignation that the last day at the senior center would be on November 6th. Was there a conversation with you, with Sue, with Raina, about November 6th being the last day here?
Not that date specifically, but this is an internal transfer. This isn't somebody leaving the town, giving 2 weeks notice and Once they give 2 weeks' notice and they're gonna leave, they leave. In this case, this is an internal transfer, and I'm just trying to find a pathway where the senior center is not left short-handed. That's all. I mean, it's really no more than that. And when I talked to her last week, she understood that. Obviously, she doesn't want to leave the senior center in any kind of difficult position. So.
Is she bound by any contract or anything that says she needs to not be able to leave until a certain date, or so the choice is not hers to make that transfer? Whose choice is it?
I'll buy a contract.
I'm just wondering,
She's a part-time town employee now.
Right.
She's expressed interest in moving to another department in a part-time status. And we're working together on the transition. That's all.
I'm just trying to figure out if there was anything she was bound by that would make this transition not able to happen until the 16th. So that her.
Well, I think it can definitely happen before the 16th. Again, is that the official changeover of her position? I mean, she can certainly work both positions up until the 16th, and then the 16th, she cuts free, full-time, part-time at the highway department, as opposed to working at both the senior center and the highway. So the 16th was more of a day at that point, she wouldn't need to work, or wouldn't be asked to work in both locations. But, depending on how the process moves from this point forward, we can certainly move quickly and more than meet that time frame. So the 16th to me was just the date that no longer needed at the senior center. She'd be only at highway. So that was the reasoning for the 16th. Yeah, but there's no reason why she can't work both. She told me last week she was willing to do that. I don't think she wants to do it for a long period of time, which I understand. I wouldn't want her to. But I just want to make sure we have a smooth transition, and both departments are, have their services for when you need them.
So, sounds pretty amicable after the night.
If you want to see the night, so at that point, she doesn't come back to the senior center. I mean, that's, tomorrow's the 3rd, so.
No, not at all. I'm not saying that period, she starts with us the 9th. We get an extra weekend before.
She can start with you this week.
Not according to this resolution.
Well, of course it is, because like I said, at the 16th, that would be it. That would be it. So she wouldn't be here anymore, even for a short period of time.
Okay, I guess
that's what the 16th
November
is.
16th is what throws me off. I mean, if it said effective November 9th, that would make more sense, but it says effective November 16th, which gave me the impression that she wouldn't be able to start.
No, that's the date that she would no longer be at the senior center for any length of time.
That's not.
So that would be the transition date.
Okay, that's not clear to me from this. I mean, to me, from this, she can't work at highway until the 16th.
Well, the way it was written before on the 9th, it didn't appear she could work at the senior center. So I guess, maybe it was not clear with either date. So,
well, I think it's.
I think if we all.
wanted clarity, I think then having
we all generally
November 9th would make the most sense. So
we all generally agree that she can work both places, and that on the 16th, she's fully over at the highway department, then that's our agreement. That's how, that was my understanding of where this was going, so.
So we're agreed, we'll change the date to the 9th. I mean, we're getting to the point of absurdity here.
Yeah, well, you got that right.
I don't think any of us understand that. for the point of clarity to ensure that she can work in the
All right,
highway.
so she's not gonna start working at both places this week.
What's that?
She's not gonna start working at both
No,
places.
I don't think that's the intent, right? That's not the intent.
Well, it certainly could
Say
be.
effective November
It certainly could be.
9, which would make me think that it would start with that, it's not
Right.
this. And then the resolution says effective November, I'm just confused that I mean, I think we're both agreeing on.
Yes, we are agreeing.
Okay.
That's why I don't even understand what we're talking about.
It should be November 9th.
We'll make an amendment that says she can begin work, effective November 9th. Reina Manafo will be working at the Highway Department and Clifton Park Senior Community Center as needed, with a effective date of November 16th, at which time she will be fully transitioned to the Highway Department. Okay. So I'll move that amendment. There's a second. Second by Mr. Whalen. Discussion on the amendment? Okay, Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution.
And, well, we have to go back and vote on the amended resolution. We voted on the amendment. All right.
Okay, so, Councilman Whalen?
Yes, just,
Councilwoman,
sorry, point of order. Just in changing that resolution, that does change the amount of funding that is affected by that event. So that amendment change would go from.
Yeah, then you can, yeah.
4,405 to 4,775. I just don't want it, we're all trying to do the right thing, I just want to make sure that we got there.
Yeah.
Our I's crossed and our T's dotted, right?
Yeah, the resolution says the cost is estimated, so I think that.
Okay.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Resolution number 208 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges on the 2021 property tax bills. Second.
Moved by Ms. Wallen, second by Mrs. Standard. Walton?
Yeah,
You got it?
I have 5 resolutions on here tonight from 5 different tax entities. Their sewer and water departments. People don't pay their bills. One of their options is, basically their only option if they can't collect it, is to ask me to re-levy it on their county bills. So what they do is they give me a list of who is unpaid. I bring it to the board and pass a resolution authorizing me to put it on their county tax. So all these resolutions here, there's 500 in a row for sewer and water. That's basically what I do.
All right. And it's something
We do every
you
year.
have to do every year for a certain number of properties.
Yes.
All right, any questions for Walter? Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 209 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges in the 2021 property tax bills.
Second.
By Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen. Discussion.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 210 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent sewer charges on the 2021 property tax bill.
Second.
By Ms. Wallen, second by Mr. Morelli. Discussion. Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanhart?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 211 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent water charges on the 2021 property tax bills.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Ms. Wallen, discussion.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 212 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the assessor to re-levy delinquent water charges on the 2021 property tax bills.
So,
Second. Moved by Mr. Whalen, second by Mrs. Standard, discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 213 of 2020, a resolution accepting a donation of land from Beverly Development Corporation. So moved.
Second. Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Morelli, discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. All right, that's it, right? All right, we'll go to any other business that come before us this evening. That's next. That's next. Now we'll go to public hearing. Mr. Hansinger? You want to speak to that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we're at that stage, and it's just you and Kathy. How about you, Kathy? Did you?
No.
No? Okay. All right, well,
Motion to adjourn.
at this point, we'll motion to adjourn.
second.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you very much.